This video is made possible by the following cuties. You can check out the gear they provide for me in the description below.
And as a final note, I think it's really important that we all peer pressure Jimmy into taking this round the Nordschleife because, well, that's going to be entertaining.
Fine, Jesus Christ, I'll do it. I just wanted a rest. So yes, thanks to Chris Hay and his goons, as well as, of course, Gary, the person who made this mod, here I am, back at the Nordschleife to do another hot lap, though to call this upcoming lap a hot lap would probably be a little bit incorrect. So this is the now legendary Auto Union Type C from 1937. This car is almost as old as Chris Hay himself, which I find to be ludicrous. So I have to admit that because of the age of this car, I don't really know that much about it. This is literally a pre-World War II race car, and as such it has pre-World War II technology. The engine, for example, is a V16. You can see that by the 8 exhaust poking out this side. There are 8 on the other side too. Peak power output of about 500 horsepower or so at 4,500 RPM, so very torquey, very low down RPM. And apparently, according to the glorious Wikipedia article that I read, this thing wheel spins at 100 miles per hour. Not surprising, given that it's on what are effectively bicycle tyres there at the rear. Now, I'm not sure if the brakes in this thing are disc brakes or drum brakes, but given the performance, I'm going to say they're probably drum brakes. You get up to speed very quickly in this car, but then you don't really slow down. It's almost like you're driving on ice when you're trying to slow down. This car also, from what I read, had some very interesting funding sources. I won't say the word on YouTube because it will probably tick some box which will get me banned, but it does rhyme with Yahtzee. Like most cars from that time, this is essentially just one big metal tube full of the finest rocket fuel you can buy. So if you have a crash, you do the big combust. So I can't even imagine going, you know what, let's go 200 miles an hour, that'll be safe. Well, here we are inside an 83-year-old race car. This is quite crazy. The amount of detail in this cockpit as well. Gary's just done it again. It looks so cool in here. And you really get a feel for just how terrifying it would be to drive this thing. Look, no seatbelt, Ma. This car is all about patience. Unfortunately for me, I have none. So let's see how we go. So you'll notice I've got the speedo up on the right here because this car has no speedo in it. Probably a good idea for the sanity of the driver, to be honest. But you can get an idea of just how quick this thing is and how crazy it is, especially for the time frame. Gearing's been shortened a little bit so I can actually use my gears, but down the first gear, round the corner, and here we are then. A lap of the green Hell in an Auto Union Type C. Hopefully we can get through it in one piece. Already going far too quick for T1, so I have to try and power out of it. The only way to get rid of the understeer in this car is by inducing power oversteer, which also is scary because you have no grip on that part of the tyre, so use it to turn, and that's it, through Hatzenberg, and already you see just how leery this thing is. I'm trying to be nice and easy, do a lot of braking in this car with the engine, so I'll be going to first gear quite a lot around here. There you go, nice and soft for this section. It's all about just getting the car, the direction change through, getting it rotated on the throttle for this section, and trying to induce the side a bit early. Now Gary said to me, Gary is the maker of this mod, that I need to be very careful with the tyres here. It's very easy to make them go pop if you get them too hot from too much sliding. So that's something to keep in mind as we slide around the corner. Now watch the speedo down there. That's in kilometers an hour, but 220 is 140 miles an hour for you Americans. And we've just touched that coming up to the flue plats. We've got to hammer the brakes now down the second gear. The small turns is okay, but once you start sliding is when the grip is just gone and there's no way you can really correct it. But now we get to really unleash the V16 engine behind us. I dare not look at the speed. I'm trying to concentrate on where I'm going. There's 250 k's on the clock, 260, and we're going to hit the brakes hard before the hump here. Still on the brakes, still on the brakes. Second gear. Again, using the throttle just to help us hug the corner there. And then down to first, and you're just seeing how big the braking zones are for this car. You think it weighs a lot more than it does, but these brakes are just abysmal, do not match the speed whatsoever. And it's what makes this car so damn challenging. You always have some sort of correction in the wheel going on, but the mod and the feedback in the wheel lets you understand what that needs to be most of the time, so you do okay. Sim racing shuffle there on the wheel. Down the first gear. Again, first gear, using the engine to stop there. I can't really turn much harsher than that because otherwise the car will start to spin. Once you get past a certain angle in this car, it is goodbye. So we're going to try and avoid that the best we can. And there you go. I'm loving this massive kind of airplane style rev counter in front of me here. Revving a bit high for a plane though, but still good. So again, we're going to just get on the brakes super early, use second gear, slow us down. You can actually be quite aggressive on the curbs in this car, but you have to make sure the car's already pointing the way you want it to go before you hit the curbs, otherwise you have no chance of turning it at that point. So much torque from this thing. They've actually shortened the gears. We're on a shorter gear set because it was geared for over 200 miles an hour before. We won't quite get that on the back straight, I don't think. At least I hope not. I'm not going to be able to slow down. Can't get in there. It's such a different experience driving this. It's just, again, a complete exercise in patience. Oh, you can see what happens there once the tyres start to lose grip. You just slide laterally and then bad things happen very quickly. I'm on the brakes hard down here. It's still not slowing down. Come on. Come on, get it turned. Just about got it turned. And that's a great indicator just how bad this car handles at low speed. It's actually not as bad at high speed. You can start inducing the slides a bit, but at low speed it really is just a slug. Again, first get through here. Just trying to turn the corner as smoothly as possible. Use the torque up the hill before we go back down to first gear. Soft up here. Use a bit of the power, and now we go over to torque, and just look at the speed. It just climbs like just poof, like that. It's crazy, this thing. Again, I just can't imagine driving this. There's so many cars in sim racing. I think, yeah, maybe I could give that a go and I'll be all right in it. In this sort of car, there'd just be the big fear. You'd just be so scared the entire time driving it. One of the drivers of this car back in the day was the original Hans Stuck, so I can't even imagine the stories he told his kids of driving this thing. So now this is where we get to really use the torque of this Type C up here to stab the brakes in the way and just to get the car turned. Now we can use the power. So much more, I don't know how to describe, it's like a balanced drive in this car. Whereas an F1 car is all about precisions and like snap movements, or I say snap movements, very precise movements. This is all about balancing. It's like standing on one foot on a boat during a storm and trying to stay afloat. There you go, nice, just about touching the grass there, and again we've got to brake so early. I mean, this is the sort of circuit that I couldn't really imagine this car driving in real life. It's a bit too twisty. It kind of likes the high speed stuff a bit better. In fact, it loves the high speed stuff. The streamlined design is why it gets up to 200 miles an hour. Some people get confused with power and top speed and don't quite understand how it works, but basically it's just down to drag, and this car had next to none of it, apart from this big windscreen here to protect the driver somewhat, which again looks like some sort of target reticle, which again I won't I'll leave that alone. I think I think it's for the best. Turn the car in nice and let it just slide out. There you go. You've got to give it room, this car. It's a very angry car, this. Angry and a bit confused. So you have to give it all the room it wants. And be very easy when you start to accelerate. See, again, I just turned in a bit too late there, and I get understeer as a result. You have to be so easy with the movements. And you see there, just a bit late turning in again, and you have to then deal with the weight transfer at the wrong point. Whippleman is usually a really aggressive part of a circuit. We just attack the curbs. Here it's just try and survive the curbs, plant the power there, and you can see the wheels spinning as I just about plant it in a straight line, just about. Now this downhill section here is where this car is at its worst, where you're coming downhill, you've got gravity against you, and you're trying to turn the car in. This right-hander is the worst corner on the circuit for this car, because you start turning in, you get on the throttle, and suddenly the car wants to oversteer and exit. Imagine being auto-addiction, right? Imagine you're sitting there with your camera, trains on YouTube corner, and you see a Type C come through. And then it bins it, gets driven by some rich man. Easy. So you think, we aren't using first here. If I use first, I'm just going to wheel spin. So better just use the torque and let it grumble its way out the corner. Oh no. That was scary. This is why I absolutely adore sim racing, right? I get the opportunity to, especially in VR as well, to try out a car from before the Second World War and understand its characteristics. I get an idea of how it would have driven, what needs to be done to drive it well. That's something you just can't get by watching TV and watching videos. You get to immerse yourself in this little world for a couple of minutes, and it really is awesome. Again, third gear now. This car starts coming alive in third gear. You have to be up the speed, of course, to use it. We only really get a couple of chances to use it, and one of that is coming up right now. We get the long back straight here where we get to just let this thing run away, and run away it does. Second carousel. Can I actually get this? Usually I miss this one practicing because the car understeers out. Go on, go. Second gear is so far from first, and you can't change that in the gearing, by the way. That's just how it is. Such a difficult challenge. I'm not going to know my lap time really until afterwards, because I didn't check my lap time when coming across the start-finish line. So I'm going to have to put that up on screen afterwards, but I assure you it's not going to be that quick. I'll be impressed if it can beat the 88.6 around here, which it should do. It should do. Anyway, there's third gear. There's 140 mile an hour passed easily. Getting up to 260 k's. We're in top gear now, fourth gear. Pretty sure we haven't got a fifth. No, we haven't got a fifth. Just checking. And letting the car just do its thing. 4,500 RPM from the V16 behind us, 290 k's, nearly 300 kilometers an hour. Oh god, this is going to be scary. Tip it in on the throttle to rotate the car a bit, and now I've got to be on the brakes just from now. Down to third, still braking. A little bit of throttle there just to tide us over. Still braking. Oh, and we just about make the corner. This thing is an absolute experience. A terrifying one, but one you should definitely try out. It's a free mod and race department from Gary. It's awesome. Give it a go. 10:37 shows on the clock there. I'm going to guess that was probably around a 9:30 lap time, so not awful. This thing, again, I'll flash the proper time on screen now so you guys can see. But as I said before, getting to drive this car in a sim and getting to drive it in VR is awesome. You should give it a go. I like to try and drive cars on the channel that I think are fun or different or enjoyable and most importantly accessible, and this is all of those things put together there. And also probably the hardest car I've ever driven around this circuit. It's just one small mistake and you have about 5-10 minutes to ponder your life while you're sailing into a wall very slowly, but that's the fun of it. Anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This is really awesome to drive. The mod link will be in the description if you want to give it a go yourselves. Again, big shout out to Gary for yet another awesome mod. And also to Chris Hay for the challenge. Thank you, Chris. Love you. Not really, though. And if you guys did enjoy the video, then I'd very much appreciate it if you hit the like button. And if you want to see more stuff like this, then feel free to subscribe and hit that bell icon as well, because that way you might actually see the videos when they're released. Who knows? Massive thank you to my patrons and sponsors. Thank you for supporting the channel and allowing me to do stuff like this every day, because it's awesome. It really is. Take care. Have an awesome day. See you all next time.